Yeah, no, this is fine. What's up, nerds? I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in to part 1 of this video. I never thought so many people would tune in to really anything I made, so it's appreciated so much, and I just want to take the time to say that. So, with that being said, let's get started. Theater of Blood is some of the best content Old School RuneScape has to offer. We've already talked about some of the reasons people have trouble getting started, so let's dive deeper into entry mode and the ecosystem of group PVM as a whole. I wanted to kick things off by focusing on what creates a good versus a bad learning environment in an MMO, and then move into a discussion on entry mode itself. Toxicity and gatekeeping in an MMO increase with the punishment a group receives for bringing a weak link. Entry mode does not do a great job bridging this gap, and the lack of a big unique like Cox or Toa increase the importance of finishing raids quickly and efficiently to maximize GP per hour. I think the most important item I mentioned in part 1 is that TOB is the only raid where you can't keep returning to the boss room after a death. Even if your teammates clutch it out, you will pick back up at the next room, missing the chance to learn at the previous boss. Players like when number go up, especially for high scores on challenging content. Letting mentors continue to get KC even when their team holds them back will do a lot to create an atmosphere more welcoming for those trying to make the jump from other raids. Not only that, but it obviously gives newer players exposure to the true mechanics and damage inside the normal raid. Now with that being said, a lot of people will say just do entry mode, and I agree, it's an extremely valuable tool. But there are a couple of changes that can go a long way on making it perfect, without dumbing down the content. My biggest gripe with entry mode lies in its supply chests and bosses like Maiden. It's true that players can use discipline to perfectly track their mistakes on bosses and not just brute force it, but unfortunately we don't live in an ideal world, and when you're new to content, you may not even realize you're cheesing the mechanics. The first room of TOB is Maiden. To put it briefly, 3 important things happen. Maiden will throw magic attacks at you, the boss will throw blood on the ground, and Maiden will spawn blood crabs at 3 specific time points that heal the boss when it reach her. The key thing here is, every time you stand on those blood pools or let a crab heal her for a significant portion, she will do more damage through prayers and generally cause more chaos for the raid. In entry mode, these blood pools are a joke, and do not teach significance of how small mistakes in a room can lead to a team wipe pretty quickly. Not only that, but even one of the core mechanics of the room are different. The way crabs spawn in entry mode do not mimic that of the normal raid. This is insane to me when one of the most important parts of understanding the boss is learning where to freeze these crabs. Why not have entry mode follow the mechanics exactly and do the same damage as the standard raid? Why not just lower the health and defense of bosses so that the gear requirements are lower and the amount of time for perfection is less? This can be applied across the raid and also forces players to learn. The other issue is the supply chests. Currently, the only thing you can get in the supply chest at the end of each room are bandages, which act as a shark, prayer, stamina, super combat, and super ranging potion. There's no reason you can't make these supplies mimic exactly how the raid normally functions. You can even rename the supplies to something unique to the raid like Chambers of Verzik, so that you can't sneak supplies out of the raid when you're done. Call Ceradomin Brews Bloody Brews for all I care. Point is, bandages are silly. With all this being said, let's talk about how to get ready for your first KC. Don't just join a raid and assume you'll be carried. Put in some prep work and it'll go a long way when joining your first group. First, when using entry mode, keep track of your mistakes and assume that any will kill you, even if they won't. This forces you to focus on your movement and prayer swaps and makes you more aware of possible dangers when jumping into the first raid. I would also recommend you keep track of the mistakes you do make. Always stepping in Maiden's Blood? Write it down. Constantly getting hit off prayer at Sotetseg? Write it down. Also, use P2 Verzik helper. I can't put links in the description of my video, but they should be the first result when you Google it. This helper is incredible for getting into the rhythm needed during the hardest part of the Verzik fight. Take your time, focus on improvement, and don't be afraid to fail. Try and find other people new to the content and try to learn together. It takes the pressure off and lets you move at your own pace. Hope you all enjoyed the video and happy raiding.